2 is directed by David Leitch and stars Ryan Reynolds, who reprises his role as Wade Wilson / Deadpool. The sequel to the first film takes place nearly 2 years afterwards, where Deadpool strikes a friendship with a mutant boy named Russell, who's being hunted by the time traveler Cable. So with the help of the X-Force, Deadpool looks to protect Russell at all costs. I think it's a widely known fact that I was not the biggest fan of the first Deadpool movie. I even made a daily rant on that film, which I'm not proud of. That video is not too good, but nonetheless, it's a film that I felt wasn't terrible, just pretty disappointing. It could have been done a lot better in several aspects, and there were 2 glaring flaws I had with the first Deadpool movie, one of which happened to be the humor. I felt it was cheap, unfunny, and uncreative. None of it worked for me. So many people thought it was funny, hilarious, but just did not do the same thing for myself when I saw it in the theater. And the second happened to be the underutilization of action moments. There was an incredible action scene to kick off the movie. Right after that, however, there was barely any action to be found except for the last maybe 10-15 minutes of the film. The middle of the movie focused a lot more on the humor and the storytelling instead of giving us some action sequences to keep us entertained. I was hoping this film would not follow the same missteps the first movie took, and thank God this film is so much better, in my opinion, than the original Deadpool movie. There was a lot more action. I felt the humor was much better this go around. The performances were better. I liked the story a little bit more. There are a few similarities between this film and the first that I actually liked, such as the CGI. It is flawless. You cannot even tell sometimes. Yeah, there's a few characters in this movie that don't look too great, but when it comes to the action sequences with Deadpool involved, the CGI looks phenomenal. And that brings me right into Ryan Reynolds, who plays Deadpool again in this film, and he is great. I thought he was fine in the first movie, but in this movie, I think he is much improved. His humor and his dialogue comes off so much better, and his character is somebody I actually get behind more so in this film compared to the first, because of the relationship he builds with Russell, who is played by Julian Dennison. The relationship is touching. It adds more depth to the character of Wade Wilson / Deadpool, so that was a nice addition to this movie. Deadpool 2 also brings back the breaking of the fourth wall, as well as a plethora of references, which I loved. Some of them I did not get, but the ones that I did understand that I could connect with, those were great. The things they do with those elements are what makes me enjoy these movies so much, despite the fact that I'm not the biggest fan of the first. But considering how they're still able to make us laugh so many times with all these references is really impressive. I must say, David Leitch did a great job in directing the action scenes. Some of these sequences, my God, my jaw dropped. I loved watching all of these action sequences because they were thrilling, very intense, gritty, violent, brutal, bloody, everything I could ask for in a Deadpool movie when it comes to the action. These moments were much improved over the first movie, and that's also because there is many more of them. David Leitch did a terrific job at directing these action scenes because you're able to see every single piece of what is happening. There aren't many cuts. The camera follows the characters at all points, so you can practically see the entirety of what is going on in these action scenes. In regards to humor, that is another element of this movie that I liked much more than the first film, because I must point out the fact that in the first movie, they had sexual jokes, but none of them were really creative. They all just were sexual jokes. On the other hand, in this movie, the sexual jokes were related to references, which made it so much funnier and more creative. They were able to use these references to their advantage and make the best jokes possible. My God, what they decided to do with the X-Force though, that was hilarious. Easily one of the funniest parts of the entire movie. Never really saw it coming except for a few hints early on, but that was truly one of the best parts of the movie. Besides just Wade Wilson, I really liked some of the other characters in this film, such as Domino. She was a great new addition to the film, a part of the X-Force. What they did with her was great. Also, Cable, played by Josh Brolin, a pretty good villain. Brolin has been on a roll this year, playing also Thanos. As a villain, he was a lot better, in my opinion, than that of Ajax. Yeah, he was a bit underdeveloped, but when you understand his motivation, it all makes sense, and I truly enjoyed watching him on the screen. Just how some of the storylines played out in this movie made me happy. I like the direction David Leitch went in with this film at times, with characters like Cable and Wade Wilson. That was some pretty cool stuff they did there. So while I think this is a much better movie than the first one, there are a couple of problems, such as the beginning. The pacing is a bit slow. It takes about 30 minutes for you to get into it because the jokes don't really come off that great. They aren't that funny. There isn't too much going on in terms of storytelling. So the movie does take a bit to get off of its feet. And also the ending. There are about 15 extra minutes that I feel could have been shaved off. Plus, I must add, the tonal shifts were a little bit weird. The movie got a bit serious at times, and they kept going with it, and I was really confused with that. I felt it should have just been one tone, but no, they decided to make it a little bit more serious this time. There are a few jokes even that felt reused, a few storytelling elements that I've seen before, so the movie doesn't always feel fresh, even though the story is entertaining. That just about covers all of the problems I had with Deadpool 2. This movie is a lot of fun. I do think it's better than the first film because of the action, because of the humorous jokes this film had to give it energy throughout, which automatically makes it better than the first one, in my opinion. A lot of great things to take away from this movie, and the mid-credit scene was so funny. One of the funniest mid-credit scenes I've ever seen, and it has to be one of my favorites. Please stick around and see that. It is so great. I'm gonna give Deadpool 2 an 81%. This film surprised me. It was very fun. It did not go down the same route as the first film, even though it did a couple of times, but with the humor, it was better there. With the action, it was better there. There were plenty of things this film did better in general, so that's why I enjoyed this movie as a whole. Most of all, it did everything a Deadpool movie, in my opinion, should do, which the first film did not. For those of you who have seen Deadpool 2, be sure to let me know down below in the comment section. I would love to hear your opinion on it. If you are new to my channel, click that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and I hope you all have a fantastic day.